Our theme today is we're going to be looking at keywords. So if you are brand new to the software, just so you know, we always have a different theme. Sometimes the themes are for beginners, first timers, sometimes intermediate, sometimes more advanced. This is not really for first timers just because I'm going to show you how to do great proposals. So if you are brand new, never seen the software before, just so you know, the purpose of it, the primary purpose is for you to sit down in front of a client, ask some questions, it calculates a price in front of the client and allows you to price with the system, with confidence, and people using the software are telling me they're getting much higher prices. We have so many success stories of people getting sometimes 10% higher prices, 20%, double, 3 times, 4 times, and it may be if any of you watching are users of the software and are getting great results, perhaps put in the comments box what sort of results you're getting, how it's helping you get better prices. What it also does is once you've agreed the price, and that's the primary reason, it's a pricing tool, but once you've done that, you can also produce proposals quickly. And that's what we're going to focus on today, the proposal bit. Although I will show you very briefly the front end bit, the pricing bit as well if you're brand new. So that's today's theme. Before we dive into that, one other thing that we always do, and if you're new, one of the things we do for every one of my live sessions to help make the world a better place, what we do is for every single person here today live, we at the end, we count up the numbers. We don't count them. The social media tells us the numbers who are here live, and then we make a contribution to a project somewhere around the world to make the world a better place. And for today's session, the project that we have chosen is for people over in Kenya, where people struggle sometimes with things like health. So today is helping people, helping the nursing profession. For each and every one of you, we will be making a contribution to get a new uniform for a day for a nurse. So I don't know how many people are going to be here live, 100 people or so, but it's going to be a lot of days worth of uniforms that we will be paying for, contributing on your behalf. So thank you for coming live. Whenever you come live to these sessions, collectively we help make the world a better place. Okay, let's get started then. Let's dive into keywords, and what I thought I'd do for this particular session is what did I think I'd do? Yes, so let's go across to the software, and so I'm on the home page right now. What I'm just going to do very quickly is I'm going to go into the back end, which is the cogwheel in the top right, and if I go into proposal templates, this is the place where you can create your own proposal templates, whether it's a proposal, a fixed price agreement, an engagement letter, and we've written some for you that you can grab and use. And you can create beautiful proposals with the software. Let me just give you a quick example of one that Emily and our team did a little while ago when we did a session for Live Plan. So if I just click on edit, this is where you can edit your proposals that you create and change them. These are the proposal templates, and let me just hit save and continue, and you can start to see the proposal here. Where you see things like proposal name, this is what's called a keyword. This is what we're going to go into in depth today, keywords. But I just wanted to show you, for those of you that have never seen this software before, if I hit save and continue, we get a preview of what our proposal might look like. So if I was doing a quote for somebody for business advisory work, and perhaps I was using Live Plan, then I could, at the end of the process, let me just make it a little bit smaller, I could then, having got the price agreed and so on, I could then produce a very professional looking brochure in moments. And what that proposal will include is it will include all the client's details automatically imported in. So we create the template for that proposal, and then what we can do is use keywords to insert the keywords, things like the date, the price, the client's name, all those things automatically inserted into the proposal. So I'm not going to look at a pretty one today. I'm just going to focus on words today, the wording of our proposals and how we use keywords. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, there's basically four categories of keywords that you can create. So if you're not sure, if it doesn't make sense what keywords are, ask a question. Remember, put QQ in front. If you've got a question, in the comments box, QQ, your question. And if you don't ask your questions, I can't help you. So please do ask away. So a keyword is where the software inserts into a place, a holder inside your proposals, some information about the client or the quote. And there are 4 different categories of keywords, including some brand new ones that were released just the other day with the latest live development, which I'll talk about later. So let me just go back into the software, and what I'm going to do is let's just go into the editor. So the editor is where you create your proposals. And of course, we'll create proposals for you that you can just automatically start with and then edit them. And in a proposal, keywords are notified by, you'll see a keyword because it's got these curly brackets at the start and the end. So proposal name, probably no surprise, that will insert into your proposal the name that you've given the proposal. I guess client name doesn't need too much explanation. That's the name of your client that would go in there. So how do you insert your keywords? What you would do is if you've got a text section of your proposal opened, what we can then do is over on the left, there's a little key symbol. I'm moving the mouse around. That little key symbol will unlock itself when you are in edit mode, text edit mode. And to edit is the pencil on the far right. Okay, so I hit the pencil icon, it's now in edit mode, and you'll see we have, under the word keywords, we have system keywords, client keywords, quote keywords, and company keywords. So four categories of keywords. The system keywords are the default ones that come with the software. So if I just hit that drop-down box there, we can see that we have the client name, for example. And so if I hit the plus button, wherever I left the cursor in my proposal, that would insert the keyword client name. By the way, you can type it in. Those words with curly brackets, you can type into there, but if you get a spacing wrong or something, the software won't recognize it as a keyword. It'll think it's just text, and it'll just say client name rather than the name of the client. So it's safer to put your cursor in the right place and then just hit the plus button, and that would insert that keyword, client name, into the proposal. So let me walk you through some of the other ones we've got in here. We've got the proposal date, which always defaults to the current date, but as you create a proposal for a client, you can change the date to a different date. We have the quote date is the date you agree the price, and you'll see that later. I'll do a quick example. You can give your proposal a name, so it could be bookkeeping quote for 2021, for example. It will insert the name of the pricing model. So if it's bookkeeping, it would put in bookkeeping. If you've called it, if you're pricing payroll work and you've called the model payroll, it will put payroll in. We have a number of address fields. I think they're fairly straightforward what they are. So you've got different levels of address. It will insert a quote number. So every quote you do, the software generates an automatic number. And so you can insert that in there if you want to. You can insert months, which is the number of months the proposal is over. So for example, if you're doing bookkeeping and you're expressing the price as a monthly figure, so it's going to be 12 payments, for example, over the next 12 months, then it would insert 12. If it's, for example, a service where it might be a cleanup project and they are paying over 3 installments, then it would insert 3. So that's the number of months or payments that they will make. Then there's the package price. That's the price of the package they've chosen. And so one of the things in the software you can do is you can offer the client a choice of, say, bronze, silver, gold. You can change those names, but it'll insert that for you. There's a package price and a final price, and that's because you have 2 prices available. One is the price of the standard package. If you then do behavior rewards, discounts if you like, or upsells, enhancements, then the final price takes that into consideration. So you've got control as to which price you will reveal. I'll give you an example of how you would use these in a short while with some words. The package is the name of the package they choose. So if they choose your bronze package and you call it, let's say, entry bookkeeping, it will insert entry bookkeeping. We then have our proposal number. We can actually break it between a quote number, a proposal, and a sub number. We can put today's date in, you can put your name in, and you can choose whether you want your name in full or just a first name or a last name. That is the standard system keywords. Let me just minimize that just to simplify the screen a little bit. Now, brand new to the software, brand new, and I know that David Coltz is here. David Coltz gave some feedback about something he would love to have built into the software, and we have done that as of about 2 weeks ago, perhaps a bit, I forget now, was it 2 weeks ago we went live? If we just scroll down onto the keywords a little bit, you may not have seen this, but you will see at the bottom we have five labeled package, all labeled packages. Packages light, entry, full, premium, super. We have the software enables you to offer up to 5 different packages. So if you think of bronze, silver, gold, that's your 3 packages. But with the software, you can actually have up to 5 different packages, and the software labels them light, entry, full, premium, super. You can change those names in the software. But what you can then do for each of those, you have 3 keywords. You have the name that you've chosen. So if your entry package is called bronze, for example, that would then be, the keyword would be bronze. And it also has the price of that bronze package, both before and after any discounts, behavior rewards, or enhancements, upsells. And that just gives you some more flexibility that before the update, all you could put into your proposals was the final agreed price of the package that was chosen. But you might want to let the client know about other packages. Now, the reason David wanted it, and David I've just seen says, yes. The reason David asked for it is because David's in the Value Pricing Academy. I teach something called the contract renewal letter process. And so if you're in the VPA and you use the contract renewal, in there, the way that I've created that document is you do actually reveal 3 of the prices. And David says he's now updating his renewal letters right now. And what you couldn't before put a contract renewal letter into the software. What David does is for clients, those smaller clients where he doesn't have a face-to-face meeting, he uses the contract renewal letter process. He uses the software to come up with the price, but he doesn't use it in front of the client for those purposes, but he wants to produce a contract renewal letter with the different prices for the different packages. And so you can now do exactly that. That's what the purpose of those extra keywords are. So that's the additional system ones that are brand new. Now we then have 3 more categories of keyword as well as the systems keywords, and they're called client, quote, and company. And this was also actually feedback from David, and this is why this appeared. It was David's suggestion, and it's actually a brilliant suggestion and opens up so many more possibilities. So the client keyword these are what are called custom keywords. You can create your own keywords. Think of the software as having its little database built in of data for a client that you can then insert into your proposals. And we can have 3 different levels. We can attach keywords to clients. You'll see an example of this in a short while. I've got a few that I've just set up here earlier. You can attach keywords to the specific quote. So they're things that will vary from quote to quote, whereas clients will vary from client to client. And then company is keywords for your particular business. That's going to make sense as I now walk you through some practical examples. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can create your own custom keywords. I'll give you some examples of some that you might want to do. We'll create some. I'll show you where to create the custom keywords. I'll just sidetrack because Philip says, great suggestion, David. David's always come up with great suggestions, and there's some more things that David suggested coming in the next release fairly soon in September, which I know that Tom and Stephen are here from the developers and started work on the next developments coming soon, so watch this space. In fact, I'll tell you about that later if anyone reminds me. If someone puts a question in there to remind me, if you put QQ, what are the latest developments, I'll tell you if you're interested. If you want to know, if you want to know, I will tell you. But I sometimes get carried away and forget things. Right, let's go into, so what I want to do is show you how to customize and create your own keywords. So I'm going to, let me just click on the the logo at the top to go to the home page. So I'm back at the start. The home page, by the way, if you're new to the software, the home page lists all your pricing models, the services you offer. So you can sit down with a client and start pricing annual financial statements or bookkeeping or whatever it might well be. So the home page is where you start with a client. Thank you, Sarah, for that question. But the cogwheel is where you set everything up. So if I go into the cogwheel, you will see there's over on the left-hand side, this is where you set things up, like, for example, where you set up your proposal templates, your pricing models, and so much more. One of the options is Keyword Manager. So if I select the Keyword Manager, this then shows you all of the custom keywords that you've set up. So there's the systems ones that are by default, like client name, price, and so on. But you can create your own. And I guess the limit is your imagination. And so I've created some for you here to give you an example. And for each of these keywords that you can create, you can choose whether they're client keywords, company keywords, or quote keywords. So you'll see in this list, if your eyesight's good, is you'll see on the left, the first column is what I've called the keyword, and the middle column is the type, client, company, quote. So let me walk you through some of those. So a client one is where when you create a brand new client, it will ask you to put things in like the client's name, because you may want to insert that into your proposal. But you can also create additional data that you want to collect for a client. So a good one might be, if I just hit the edit button on the far right, because we can change these, I have a client one called first name. And the reason for that is because my fault, when we designed the software, we did it so that there's a standard system one for the client's name, the full client name, which could be Platinum Engineering, but the owner of Platinum Engineering might be Bob. And you might want to make your proposal more like a letter. You might want to say, "Hi Bob," rather than "Hi Platinum Engineering." So if you would find it useful to put the client's first name in your proposals, then you just create a keyword, a client keyword called first name. Let me hit the back button. Other ones I've got here, so that's probably a practical one. I've got favorite color, but that was just for a previous demonstration. You probably would not be interested in collecting the client's favorite color, but you could do. Perhaps partner's name might be an interesting one, or spouse's name. Particularly if you do personal tax returns, you might want to specify in your engagement letter or your proposal whether or not you are including the tax return of the spouse or partner. And you might want to put the name of that person in your engagement letter, for example. It might be that, I've got one here, what is your goal? It might be that you want to start collecting for clients what their goal is, and you might want to put that in your proposal letters. You said to me that your goal is to, whatever it might well be. You might want to put that in there. So there's just some examples. There's probably better things that you'll think of. On that note, and I know David will have some comments, if you can think of some really good practical keywords that you might want to, or data you might want to insert into a proposal, just let me know in the comments box. If you've got any great ideas, what keywords are you using, those of you that are using keywords? What have you created? What custom keywords? So they're client ones. The other one that I think is really useful is the quote ones. So when you create a quote, you may want to collect some data about that specific quote. The two that I've created are, if I hit the edit for a second, a month-end date, which is a quote type, and the other one is a year-end date. And I'm going to show you how I would use this, month-end date and year-end date as a quote. You may think of other quote level ones. And then the company ones are your company. Now these are not necessarily so useful. Let me explain why. So I created one called website address. And that would, if I put the keyword into a proposal, that would pull in my website address, your website address. The thing is, because that doesn't change very often, you would probably just hard code that in writing. You would probably put at the bottom of your proposal, for example, reach out to us at this email address or this website address or this telephone number. And so that's probably going to be fairly fixed. But if you do have something that might change from time to time, if you were, for example, keep changing your website address, then by making it a keyword, If you do change it, it automatically changes in all of your proposals. If you instead write your website address in the proposal itself, obviously if you've got lots of proposals, you'd have to go and edit your website address in every single proposal template. So that's why it might be useful to have the company level if it's data about you, about your firm that could potentially change. But certainly the quote ones and the client ones, I suspect that you will be using very frequently. And I can see that David's already suggested he uses tax year and accounting year as keywords. So let's now look at, okay, so this is keyword management, is where you create your keywords. So let's now look at where we populate the data. So having defined what our keywords are, if I go back to the cogwheel and the general settings, then I have my profile. This is where you set the details for you, for example, your customer, your avatar, your name, and so on. And you will notice on your company details, there's a section called keywords down the left-hand side. So this is where you set up the keywords in the keyword management, and then you come here and you populate the database. So I've put in my web address, which happens to be wickersham.co.uk, which you probably know. So this is where you then populate the data for you for the company level keywords. That's under my profile. When it comes to clients, if I go into clients and quotes, this is where you would manage your clients and manage any quotes that you've done for them. Then let me take, for example, Maggie Stevens. If I view Maggie Stevens details here, you will see that we have at the top 2 tabs for every client. We have the details, which is the system keyword, so you can fill in the client's name, their address details, and so on, and these are all things that automatically get pulled in. Although seeing as Stephen and Tom are here, one thing I did notice is that we have telephone number down here, but that isn't a keyword. There's no keyword for that, so that won't appear in the quote. Nobody's picked up on that. I noticed it earlier when preparing. But if I go to keywords, which is the second tab, this is where, this will be blank to start off with because you need to create what they are. What other information do you want about the client? So you might want first name is Maggie, because I might want to use just the first name in the proposal. You might want the partner's name. I've put in Reginald. So that's where we set up we put in the data for specific clients. Okay, we have one more level of keyword. That is the quote level. So to demonstrate that and to pull all of this together, let's do a quote for a client. So let's do annual financial statement. So I've got a client, her name's Maggie. I've just had a meeting with Maggie. She wants me to do her annual financial statements. So I would use that particular pricing model. So if you're brand new, if you've never used the software before, you're new to this, this is where the magic really happens, where you sit down with the client now and you give them a price. So my client is Maggie Stevens. I've got the date of the quote. You can change the date if you want. When you start agreeing a price with a client, the first page is where you put in the client's name and the date, but you also now find keywords, which are the ones you've set up. Initially, there's none here whatsoever until you've set them up. So I think useful ones would be a year-end date and a month-end date. So if I'm doing annual financial statements, I might want to put into the proposal the fact that it's the financial statements for 2022, that's next year. And I might also want to be very specific that it's actually for the 31st of March. So this is where we can now collect that data that we can automatically then put into the proposal. I did actually forget a step. No, I didn't. It doesn't matter. No, we're good. What you then do is, and this is not what we're talking about today, but if you're brand new to the software, we would ask a series of questions. We'd want to find out the scope of the work. If we're pricing annual financial statements, we might want to know how big the client is in terms of annual sales. We might want to know what industry they're in. We might want to know whether they're a sole proprietorship or whether they're an LLC, if you're in the US, if they're a general partnership or whatever it might well be, their trading entity. We might want to know how many owners there are. Perhaps there are 2 business owners. No, one. It's a sole proprietor. It's going to be one, isn't it? So we can ask a series of questions. We can ask questions about their accounting system. Do they have good quality books and records? That would all affect the price. I'm not going to go through this in detail right now. It's a subject for another session. We can ask them questions like, how quickly do they want the financial statements doing? Are they in a rush? Do they want our fast service, our slow service? And based on how they answer the questions, it calculates a price. So once we've asked all of our questions, many of you know, we then get to this page where we can show them our different packages. I've got 3 set up here. Think of it as the bronze, silver and gold. I just happen to have called these in the settings behind the scene. Entry accounting, full accounting and advanced accounting. And at this point I would ask Maggie, so which of these do you think is best for you? And Maggie would probably go for the middle option. I want the middle option, the full accounting. Okay, you could then reveal the price. Now in this case it's been set, the price is 12 payments of $393 for the middle package. So the client might say, I want the middle one, that's a little bit too expensive. And we could go back and we could revisit the questions. We'll do this another day, by the way, but if you're familiar with the software, you'll know we can go backwards, we can change the answers to questions until the client says yes. I'm just fast tracking the process right now. Of course, what we could do is we could give them discounts for various things. That's behavior rewards. So we might, for example, offer Maggie a 15% discount if she pays in full in advance rather than monthly. And if she does that, the price goes from $393 down to $334. So let me just hit save on that. And so if the client's agreed with that, it should be $393, but they'll pay $334 a month, but if they pay it all in advance, it now takes us to the enhancements, the upsell, where we offer other things. So perhaps we offer Maggie an annual 5-year trend analysis report. She says yes to that, takes the price back up to $350. She's happy with that. We agree at $350 a month for the middle package with a slight discount for paying in advance, but also adding in a 5-year trend analysis report. Okay, we've agreed the price now. We've agreed the price. We can now talk her through the payment plan, when the payments are made, and in this case we change it to all up front because that's what she said she would do to get that 15% discount. We then go and just confirm all the details with the client, and then when the client's happy with the price, we hit save and complete. And that's the end of the process in front of the client. That's job done. But the next thing we would then do is produce a proposal. And so to do that, we hit create proposal. And we would then choose our proposal template. You can create multiple templates. So you saw that beautiful live plan one earlier. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use one I created a few moments ago, purely for demonstration. This is not a pretty proposal. I wanted to demonstrate keywords. So I've got a proposal I created called keyword demonstration proposal. Let me just give it a name. So I'm going to call this one amazing proposal. You probably wouldn't use that, but there you go. So amazing proposal. We can change the proposal date if we want to. We can have a proposal sub number. If you wanted to do that. If I now hit save and continue, what that does is that pulls in the proposal template ready to send to the client. But we can now change it and edit it. Not the template, but the version we're sending to the client. So I did one earlier. I just cut and paste a quick template just to illustrate the keywords. And so I've picked up nearly all of the keywords in here. So I've got here, I've just set it up as proposal name, proposal for, it'll insert the client's name, proposal date, quote number. I then thought I'd do this one as in the format of a little letter, as a letter, hence it says hello first name, which is Maggie. And if you remember, first name isn't one of the system ones, so I made that a client one so that I can use that if I want to. I can have hello Maggie or whatever the client's name is, pulling in one of those custom keywords. So let me think. So let me go through some of this and just to give you an idea of how you might use some of these keywords. So I created a proposal. It says, you asked us to give you a fixed price for dealing with your financial accounts for the year ended, month end date, and year end date. So if you remember, they're the two keywords that I wanted to set up for specific proposal, so every time it changes based on the proposal. I can set it up when I set up the proposal, the quote. We've pulled in the quote date. The capital letter ones, by the way, are the system ones. It pulls in the quote date. The module is annual financial statements. That's what we're pricing. So it says this proposal is based on the quote we carried out on the date. That'll be today's date. You asked to give you a price for module. So that would input, you asked to give us a price for annual financial statements. You selected our package. So that would say, I think it was full accounting. You asked for our full accounting package for this annual financial statement service. So it's inserting all those things the client's chosen automatically. Your fixed price is, and it'll put in the final price, I forget the number, was it $350 a month? We'll see in a bit. Your fixed price is $350 plus sales tax per month. This proposal covers a period of X months. Well, it's 12 months because that's what I set for this particular model. No later than 30 days before the expiration of this agreement, we will meet to discuss next year. Note, this final price includes the extra items included in appendices 2 and 3. For your information, the core annual financial statements, that's the module name, price, the core annual financial statements price is, and then I've got package price. In other words, what that would reveal is the price before that 15% discount, before they added on that 5-year analysis. Remember the 3 columns, the bronze, silver, gold? It had a price, and then that goes up and down based on discounts, based on upsells. If you still want to show that original price, you can do that. So final price is the final price, hence the words final price. Package price is what the price would be. I have a sneaky feeling I need to put a space in there because I didn't. So I'm going to show you something that I did wrong earlier. What else might I tell you? So David said that he wanted to have to do the contract renewal letter. I've just given you a different example here. So I've got this paragraph here. It says, when we carried out the quote, you selected our, it would put in full accounting package. Many of our clients eventually upgrade to our, and it's got name, premium. So that would be premium accounting package because it helps them grow their business. If you had selected that package, the monthly price would have been. So it inserts the price of the most expensive package. And applying the additional add-ons you selected, that would be a final price of. So what would be the final price had they have chosen the premium? Why would you want to do that? Well, I then said, if you upgrade any time in the next 6 months, that price will be available to you. After 6 months, if you want to upgrade, we'll need to carry out a new quotation. So I'm just giving an example there of how you might want to, in your proposals, remind the client of the price of the most expensive one, let them know that they can upgrade any time, and you'll honour that price if they upgrade in the first, let's say, 6 months. I've got a section with the correspondence addresses in there, and I've just put office use only just because I wanted to illustrate keywords, okay? So if I now hit save and continue, what that will do is then work out what the proposal would look like for this particular client. So we can see we've called this amazing proposal for Maggie Stevens, and you'll now see it's inserted all the data into those keywords. Now, if you see something like final price like that, that's because I made a mistake. That's because I was trying to be clever and typing the keyword in there. And what would have been better is, if I just hit the edit button, it would have been more sensible for me to pull it in from the drop-down box. What I actually did wrong was I didn't realize the keyword has a space there, and package price has a space there. So it's better to pull them in from the left-hand column rather than type them for that exact reason. I'm fairly sure that I chose the wrong as well. I was trying to be clever with these, and I think I chose, I can't find it now. I'll worry about that another time. So if I hit save and continue, this will now just hopefully pull in the correct prices. Yeah, so your fixed price is $350 plus sales tax. And it then went on to say this note here, this final price includes the extra items included within appendices 2 and 3. For your information, the core annual financial statements price is $393, but they're paying $350 because they're getting a discount and so on. And Appendix 2 and 3, you can then set that up to pull that information in. So it's not a pretty one, this one, because I wasn't demonstrating how to make them pretty. I want to just demonstrate how you can create different keywords, your own custom ones, and use the standard ones and pull them into a proposal. So once you've created your template, it then takes seconds to produce the proposal for each client that you agree a price for. Okay, I'm conscious I've talked for long enough. I'm sure there's questions, so please do think of your questions, and those questions can be about anything about the software. Any questions you've got, put QQ in front, let me know what the questions are. Before I answer questions, just bear me a second, there are is there two things? There's, one thing I want to do, and then I'll answer the questions. So one of the things we started doing now is letting you decide what the theme of these sessions are. Now, today's session was supposed to be more about designing proposals, but Emily wasn't able to make today's session. She would have done the teaching for today, so you've got me, unfortunately, today. And the second choice you did last week, was it last week? It was 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? I was in the UK on Friday. So the previous week, you voted for keywords was the second most votes, hence today. So I'm going to let you decide what you would like me to teach you in the next session, which, by the way, won't be next Friday. I'm taking another Friday off. That's shocking, isn't it? The next session will be 2 weeks today. So 2 weeks today, when we run this session, what would you like me to cover? So I'm going to just run a poll right now. If I just switch to here, if you either use your phone to use that QR code, or you can go to slido.com and put in that hash code. It's really simple to do. You'll see a poll pop up, and I can teach you in the next session how to price bookkeeping in the software, or once you've built a pricing model yourself, how do you test that pricing model? I'll talk about testing your pricing, testing your model, and the third thing you might want me to teach you is all about giving people choices, how to build up your packages, how to build up enhancements, how do you give clients options when you sat in front of them, how do you set those things up. So they're the three possible things we could cover when we have the next session in 2 weeks' time. What would you like us to cover? And I'm just checking I've done this right because, oh, it's okay, yep, votes are coming through now. Great, so I'll give that a few seconds for the votes to come through. Let me know which of those you would prefer. And while they're going through, let me see what else. Yes, so let me answer one of the questions, and then we'll come back to that in a second. So no, let me leave that on there in case you still want that QR code. So where did we get to with questions? We got, okay, where did we get to? Lynn said hello from Abbotsford. Where should we get to? Ren is here from Truro. This is Jessica. She is getting much higher. She's getting amazing results with the software. So sometime I'll share a story about what she's been getting. Questions. I'm looking for questions. Where is one? Here we go. So it was Jessica's asked, what are the latest developments? So, and I'll reveal the poll results in a bit. Latest developments are, so I showed you the last release, which was about 10 days ago we went live, and in the latest release we had those extra systems keywords that David asked for. Just so you know, with the latest version of the software, as of about 10 days ago, you can also now integrate effective pricing with QBO, if you're a QBO user, or Xero if you're a Xero user. And what that means is that once you've agreed the price and you've agreed the payment plan, which we didn't cover today, but once you've done that, it will then automatically set up in your version of QBO or Xero, it'll set up all the invoices with the right dates ready to send out to clients. So that integration is the other latest thing that we've done. So what is the next development which is taking place? It started now, and so the September release, and roughly speaking, there's a new development every 2 months. In the September release, we are, what are we doing? I can remember there's one big thing we're doing. I'm trying to remember the little things. Oh yes, so the little things that we're doing, I say little, again, it was a great suggestion from David. The little things, let me just move that away for now, is that When you create your upsells or enhancements, and when you create your behavior rewards, you can put a little description. So as well as you, I don't know if you saw from the software, it said, 5-year trend analysis. Do you want that, yes or no? You could have some wording as well that describes that. This is the benefit out of our 5-year trend analysis. This is what it does for you. And that would pop up on the software. But now what you can do is you'll be able to choose whether that pops up in front of the client on the software, or whether it's a tooltip. That's a little information icon that you hover your mouse over and it'll pull up that text. So you've got those two choices with both behavior rewards and with enhancements as to how you show that description to the client. Either it's on the screen or it's a little box that you can click on, a little icon, and it hovers, it comes up over the top. But also, as well, and this was David's suggestion, is you'll now be able to build those descriptions into your proposals as well. And we'll talk more about why that can be really powerful. David gave me some great examples because he uses the software to create his engagement letters and is doing some really creative stuff to create engagement letters as well as his proposals. And so probably in a couple of months' time, when that's all done, we'll show you some examples. The big thing that's happening, I mean, they're great things, but the big thing that's happening is many of you came to the session about a month or so ago where we talked about how you could set up the software for your clients and make a lot of money as part of a business advisory service by helping clients with their pricing and setting up the software for them, because it's so flexible. You can set it up for your clients so they can price with it. And I went through some examples. I showed you how a bike repair business could price their bike repair service. And I showed you how you could then charge to set that up and make a lot of money by doing it. Well, the great news is that many people got very excited by that, and the only issue is there's a bit of a workaround to make it happen with the software. We are now making it much, much easier, where within your account, within your version of effective pricing, you can go and create versions for your clients, and you can manage them all within your account, and without having to do workarounds like setting up different email addresses, so you don't have to go away and set up new versions of the software with different email. It'll all be managed inside your account. This is a big thing that's going to make a big difference for those of you who are really into business advisory, want to help your clients with pricing and how you can have a very profitable service by helping with the software. So we'll do some training sessions on that specifically after that release, perhaps at the end of September. So watch this space. Let's now go back and let me just, wrong slide. Let me just reveal the results and close the poll. Okay, so there we go. In 2 weeks' time, next session is in 2 weeks. It's going to be testing your pricing models. That will be the one that we're doing then. Okay. Sarah, I'm hoping you'll get a copy of that, won't you? Let's see what other questions we've got. So that was Jessica asked what's the latest developments. Sarah Kelly asked it as well. So a few of you wants to know. Okay, so you've got that now. Nancy, what did Nancy say? Nancy said for when you added the part of if you want to upgrade within 6 months, is that set up in the proposal as a logic sequence, so it only shows up if they chose the middle option? No, great question, Nancy. And when I was preparing this session, I create that wording. I actually created a Word document first so I could cut and paste it in. We are creating, and we'll have for you next week, a help sheet on everything I've talked about today, by the way. There'll be a help sheet, and I'll put in there that example proposal I just did, just in case it inspires you in some way. But anyway, the question that Nancy said, which makes a lot of sense, is that wording I put in that proposal only works if they don't choose the premium one. So the way that you would get around that is, one of the things you can do very easily in the software is once you've built a proposal, you can have as many proposal templates as you want. And one of the things that you could do is you could then build a proposal template and then clone it, which would then copy it, and then you could tweak it. So what I would do, if you like that wording, Nancy, and I only did that wording just to give you an example of how you might use that particular keyword. As I said before, those keywords were suggested by David, because he wants to replicate the contract renewal letter process I teach. So you definitely would want that. That would be a great way to do that. I was just being creative, Nancy, with another example of why you might possibly want to tell the client in the proposal of what was the price of the expensive thing they didn't choose. So how would you get around that? I would create that proposal and then I would clone it and take that paragraph out in the cloned one, and I would just give them a slightly different name. I'd give one annual financial statements, premium, annual financial statements, other, or just annual financial statements. And then when I agree the price with the client, if the client chooses the premium and you then create the proposal, you get to select the proposal template that you want. So if you then selected annual financial statements premium proposal, then that's, you know that you've taken that paragraph out. Okay, so that's how you can, if you want to have different types of wording for different types of proposals, then you just create different variations. Okay, it may be that as well that the proposal that we've already built in there for you is a generic one that you can use. The wording can be used for any service, but you might want to have, for example, slightly different wording when you do a payroll proposal. So you might create your proposal that you love, it's all nicely designed, it's fancy, it's great wording, but you want something a bit different for payroll. So rather than starting from scratch, you could just clone that beautiful proposal you've got, call it something else, call it payroll, and then just change the words that you need to change. Okay, what did Sarah say? Sarah Kelly said, "Mark, you are such a wonderful wordsmith." Oh, thank you. "At any point in the future, will you be providing a proposal with your wording for us to use, start with?" Well, Sarah, that's already been done, in as much as if I go into the software and if I just go back to the editor, back. So when you go into your, let me go the quickest way. If in settings we go to proposal templates, this is where you see all the proposal templates that you've created. And about 2 hours ago, I created this one called, at the bottom, keyword demonstration proposal. That was just this quick one I just pulled together to demonstrate all the keywords. But when you get your account for the first time, you will, depending on which plan you've gone for, see at the bottom ones that we've created for you that you can then click the use button and it will replicate them and you can use them. So, and there are some more coming your way soon. Emily's just finishing them off and we'll put them in here. So the fixed price agreement, if I just hit use template, what that will do is that will clone it, prompt me to give it a different name, and it puts the date in here. So I can give it whatever name I want, but it's now in my account now to use. And what you'll find when you go to here is, as I go through the various pages, you'll find that I've built in suggested wording for you for doing a proposal. So if you like my wording, which Sarah does, then we've built into here a proposal for you. Here's page 3 with wording. So you can use my wording that I've done in the proposal that you can get from within the software. But also, if you're in the Value Pricing Academy, which many of you are, I have lots of resources where I teach you how to do proposals. And if you are in my advanced group, I have a training called The Perfect Proposal System, where I actually walk through all the words that you want in a proposal to win a brand new client. And so those are things that I teach you in the Value Pricing Academy. And you could very easily take that resource and build it into your copy of Effective Pricing. Thanks for the question, Sarah. Let's look at another question. I see we've got an idiot here, I guess, which is funny. We always get trolls. Right, Kent, here's a sensible one. I haven't used the software yet, but wondering if the software has engagement letters and do these proposals link to help generate engagement letters. Okay, there are no engagement letters built in, and the reason for that is because every country is different, every professional institute is different. So I know, for example, if you're in the UK and you're a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, which I am, I'm a chartered accountant, and the institute gives you guidance on proposals. but their guidance will be different to different institutes, and they'll be different to the guidance given by US accountants and Canadian accountants and South Africans. So my suggestion is you need to do whatever research you need to do in your country, your institute, and get the guidance notes. And then having got your your engagement letters, once you've got your engagement letters, then build it in Word first. And then you can just cut and paste it into the document, which is what I did earlier, by the way. For this demonstration, I just simply built something this afternoon, those words. I built them in a Word document. I then cut and paste them. And that's why a couple of the keywords didn't work, because I was trying to be clever by typing the keywords into Word. What I should have done is use the software to insert them in, because the slightest spelling mistake and it doesn't put the right keyword in. So you can create your own engagement letters very easily. They're not built into the software for that reason, that everybody in every country has got different engagement letters. So you'll need to just build them in yourself. But it's very easy to build proposal templates in terms of the Word side of it. What takes a little bit more time if you want fancy design and stuff, and that's what Emily teaches, as many of you know. Okay, Melanie says exciting stuff, so that's great. Oh, that must be the new developments, I think. And I guess Nancy, yes, so on your roadmap is doing price consulting, so that'll be, and as you know, in the Value Pricing Academy, I'm going to be teaching live how to help clients with pricing soon. Wendy says, what kind of businesses are best suited for this kind of price consulting? So I think what you mean by that, Wendy, is what clients are best suited for you helping them with pricing and then helping them set up a version of effective pricing. And it's a great question. The answer to that is basically any business is suitable for using effective pricing where they can or should have a face-to-face conversation to agree the price with a client. And so that would include certainly any professional business. So in the same way that you sit down with a client or potential client to agree the price of bookkeeping, payroll, etc., it's the same with lawyers, architects, graphic designers, web designers. All of the professions should be involving their client in the pricing process. Also, another example would be anybody in the trades. So because you can then use it on an iPad, for example, and I remember Reza Huda did this with the software. He had a client who did new driveways. We just had our driveway done just a few weeks ago, and that's an expensive, it's a big ticket item, having your driveway done. But I also know from having a driveway done that they leave a lot of money on the table because they don't give you choices and options. They don't involve you in the pricing process. So anybody in the trades, whether it's a quote for your drive being done, whether it's painting and decorating your house, whether it's landscape gardening, all of those things, again, the software would be great for that type of business because they could go around with the iPad, they could ask some questions about what plants do you want, if it's landscape gardening, and so on. In fact, any kind of service. So I gave the example a few weeks ago of a bike repair business. A garage motor mechanic could sit down with a client to agree the price. If it was a membership organization like a golf membership or a gym, same process. So they're the types of clients that might work with, Wendy. Okay, right. I don't know if I've answered this or not because David says, piggybacking on Nancy's question, is there any discussion on using if-then logic? If the client uses the premium package, then insert the premium package paragraph. David, I might need to think about that. One of the things that David probably understands the software at a deeper level than anybody else I know. And in some respects, at a deeper level than me, because David's, a lot of the things that we are building in are feedback from him, because he's thinking of things that would be great to do. So I know you've got a clarification. Let me just read this just in case it helps me. If the client selects not use as the premium package versus full package, sorry about that. David, I'm just conscious of time. I've got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to. And I know, David, you've sent me some videos of things to watch. So I'm gonna dwell on your questions a bit more. What did Sarah say? My bad, Mark. I didn't notice that you had to scroll through the pages with the buttons at the top, not the scroll bar. I think what you're referring to there is if you're editing your quotes, then and you go through the pages, there's a little left and right. You can move sequentially through the pages of your proposal. So this is Appendix 1. So you can navigate, when you're editing your proposal templates, you can navigate through the pages here. And also over on the left-hand side, there is a scroll bar here, Sarah, where you can go straight to a particular page. So if I wanted to edit the back page, I could just click on the View button, and now I can see the back page, which happens to be page 8 on this proposal. So there's two ways of navigating. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, Sarah, but that's how you do that. Okay. Who else has got a question? I think I might, and we've got 3 minutes left, so we're almost done. Who's got a question? And David's just made a comment about, really for you, Nancy, but he used it for his financial planning and investment service. It can be done. Yeah, what David's referring to is something really clever that he's figured out a way with the way that he's done the questions and with the various enhancements. At some point, David, it might be good to have you back on again. I know you've kindly did a session a little while ago. There's so much stuff that you could teach because you figured out some really neat stuff. In fact, on that note, I don't think we've got Kim here today because I think she's on vacation, but one of the things that we will be rolling out soon is both David and Kim are getting extraordinary results of the software. They understand it better than anybody else. So if anybody wants a shortcut to getting it set up, then they're both offering their services to help people. They will obviously want to get paid for that, but it would save you hours if you want somebody else who's an expert with this, who's using it and getting great results. If you want somebody to help you set up your pricing models, for example, help you test your prices and so on, then very soon, watch this space, will be rolling out the opportunity for you to call on David and to call on Kim, and they'll happily help you get everything set up. Okay, I think that might be, as far as I can see, that might be all the questions that I've answered. So we might be finishing 60 seconds earlier. So if that's the case, I'll just give it another few seconds to see if anything comes through. But other than that, next sessions, anything I've got to tell you about? Next sessions, let me just check. I've not missed anything. Yes. So next sessions, there's nothing next week because next week is all my training for the Value Pricing Academy and the Bookkeepers Pricing Academy. So Marketing Monday, Advanced Tuesday, Foundation Wednesday, and How To Thursday. So next week I'm just teaching the people in the Academy, which is many of you. But if you're not in the Academy, my next live session is a week on Wednesday, which is August the 25th. And on August the 25th, that's a Wednesday, same time as usual, I will be teaching you how to get stuff done fast. It was what people voted for in July. It's not a pricing topic. I think a lot of people want to know how to get stuff done. So that's Wednesday the 25th, so it'll be live streamed like this. On the Thursday, that's the 26th. If you're in the Online Live Academy, that's the next session of that, 26th of August. And the 27th of August is the next time we'll be running this in 2 weeks' time, where you voted for how to test your pricing models, how to check you're happy with the numbers, they're coming out with the right prices. And I might have missed something because Sarah's just hovering here.
Next Tuesday, 6 o'clock, interview with Tiffany Higgins. Scale your solopreneur practice.
Do I need to announce that?
Well, you said the next session was the 25th, so.
Oh, sorry, yes. I do have a session next Tuesday at 6 o'clock UK time, so that's 2 hours later. I'm doing a session with Tiffany Higgins on scaling a bookkeeping business. So watch out for that. That's next Tuesday, 6 o'clock UK time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that's right. You'll see it in social media and stuff. And it'll be in the email that comes out on Monday. Okay, that's it. We are 1 minute over. It's the weekend. Have an amazing weekend. As usual, I'll play out with some music, give me a chance to read the various comments, see what I've missed, and I will see many of you in the Academy next week. I might see you on that Tuesday session with Tiffany Higgins, or I'll see you again on this session in 2 weeks' time. Goodbye for now.
my time, I wasted all my nights, I wasted it on someone who's indifferent. He didn't love me right, he told me I was blind, but I never